गलती ना करें जो वो कर चुके हैं, ऐसे लोगों की जिन्होंने स्टार्ट किया था एज एग्जीक्यूटिव्स एंड आर नाउ सक्सेसफुल मैनेजर्स इन देयर डोमेन्स, जो आपको आगे बढ़ाने में मदद करेगा। यहां आपको मिलेगा वो सही डायरेक्शन जो आपकी करियर को नेक्स्ट लेवल ले जाएगा। तो लेट्स अनलॉक योर पोटेंशियल टुगेदर। अपना कम्युनिटी में ज्वाइन करें और अपने सपनों की ऊंचाइयों तक पहुंचने का सफर शुरू करें।
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for joining on a Tuesday evening. My name is Rohan. I'm one of the partners of QFirst, which is a mentorship aggregator platform. And we've been supporting Apna with all the mentorship requirements. And as a part of community engagements at Apna, we've been doing this for a while termed as Apna Xclusives. And all the Apna Exclusive session happen on weekdays 7 p.m. and weekends at 3 p.m. Main idea having people to ideate and advance in their professional career, and we are covering a wide range of topics. It can be as simple as spoken English, a technical subject like technology, products, data science, or any functional skills as well. And today we have we have Murugan with us, who's going to help us go through mapping the UX landscape, career opportunities, and challenges. And Tirumurugan is a senior product designer at Swiggy, and without much overdue, I'll hand it over to Tirumurugan. It's all yours.
Hey guys, you can just call me Thiru for the time being. It's much shorter and easier, I guess. Yeah. So I'll be just since it's an interactive session, I don't think I'll be spending a lot of time showing you guys showing you guys a lot of presentations, long slides with no actual helpful content, and try to keep it as interactive as possible. So I want you guys to raise your hands and ask questions. I can already see there are a few hands up. Gopi, do you have anything to say? Okay, I guess not. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hands or put it in the chat, and I'll get to it after every single point. So I'm just going to be sharing my screen now. Yeah. So yeah, welcome. And I think this is entirely and mostly about UI, UX and product design, right? Also, I'd recommend you guys to stay on mute when you aren't talking to reduce any background noise, yeah? Nagraj, do you have anything to ask? No. Okay. Yeah. So when you come to UI UX, you might be here for a lot of reasons. You might be a part of Apna for a lot of reasons. You're looking for a job, you want to learn something, you may be looking for in-demand skills, practical knowledge, high-paying jobs, or just want career advancement, right? A lot of possibilities that are in the picture. Now, there is a lot of general talk about design, right? And a lot of these are around, some people are more towards designing posters, some people are fashion designers here, some people have designed web pages, some people have designed softwares, a lot of different things, right? But what exactly does UI UX fall under, and what do you end up doing as a UI UX designer? And that is something that we'll want to look at. Hello.
Just everyone to mute if you guys are not talking, because it's just disturbing the entire session. So
yeah, there's a lot of background noise, so please stay muted if you're not talking. Okay, cool. And any questions, please put it up in the chat here. I'll get back to them regularly now and then. Okay. So yeah, so the first thing is just to give some clarity on what is design and what is it? Is it how it looks? Is it making art on a web page? Or is it how it feels? Is it how you make users click on buttons and go somewhere? But if you think about it, design is ideally how it works. For example, all of you clicked on a button here to join a meeting, and you can see my screen adjacent to you as a bigger screen over here. And that is basically design in itself, right? So those are the small features and functionalities a company works with, a company creates in order to achieve or solve a problem, right? That is design. So there's a lot of confusion between aesthetics and functionality. So if you tell me design is not how something looks like, but how something works, then is it not design when something looks good, right? But yes, it does involve both. It is both about visual appeal, and it is also about the usability and how something works. For example, you look at something, you click on a button, you know what to do. But if it looks good, then you even have another layer of satisfaction in you to do that, right? So good design form finds a balance between form and function. You always find a balance and middle ground in making things look good as well as do the job. At the end of the day, if something looks good but does not work, it does not make any sense, right? And there's also a lot of talk about graphic design, art versus what is design. So the main difference here is that art is again about personal expressions, it evokes a lot of emotions. And when you do graphic design, it's more about uh, like basically it's more about art on a graphical platform, on Photoshop, on Illustrator or anything you can use, right? But what is design now? How does product design and UI UX design differ from all of these things, right? So design is about problem solving, and you focus your expression of your company and expression of your business towards a certain user and a utility. So we try to pick a user, we try to understand who this user is, what do they do. For example, again, on Google Meets now, you guys are here to join a session where we are all sitting in a conference, right? So before, this conferences and sessions used to happen in rooms, in probably halls where you have a presenter and they're doing it. But right after COVID, we couldn't do that anymore. So what is the best way to mimic that in such a way that a user who will be sitting in a hall listening to a session can do the same thing here on Google Meet? So that is basically what design tried to solve. So what Google Meets did was they tried to understand what are the functionalities people might need in this meeting in order to imitate that conference, in order to imitate the physical world, right? They're trying to bring the physical world into a digital world, and that is a problem they try to solve. So it is a more focused approach towards building something, and that is what design is. And if you look at it, what is UX design? So UX design is basically the experience that you create, the entire flow from start to end. For example, how does a user enter a place? What do they do next? What do they experience after that? How do you push users to do something? So there are a lot of things that you can do with respect to UX design in specific. And what value does it provide for businesses? It increases customer satisfaction and loyalty. If a product works really easy, if it's something really, really easy to use, you will use it more, right? If it's very hard to use, you'll be annoyed to use it after a point of time. You will start having your confusions about it. So if a customer feels that it's easy to use and they're happy, and they also stay loyal to you because they're coming back to you, and it enhances your brand reputation and competitive advantage. If there are more people doing the same thing, one way you can do it better is basically understanding what people want to achieve through your product or achieve through your service, and you want to understand how can you improve that compared to the others, right? So that is how you get competitive advantage, and leads to higher conversion rates and reduce customer support costs. So this is basically if something is working flawlessly. Yeah. Anyone have a question? Okay, no, I guess. Yeah, so it basically makes it easier with reduced customer support. If something works flawlessly, if you take care of edge cases, for example, you take an action, you upload a file, or you try to do something that the platform does not allow. And if your platform is giving you that feedback that, hey, this is not working, then you don't have a reason to reach out to customer support. You can figure it out through the app as well. So that reduces a lot of costs, and you also get people to buy things faster. You get people to sign up faster, give their emails faster, which is a lot of things that is value for businesses. Well, what is the value for users, right? So it ensures that the products are useful, easy to use, and enjoyable, and it solves the users' problems and meets their needs effectively. It's very simple. Design, after all, is common sense designing for a user to achieve something. So up till now, do we have any doubts, any questions on someone who is new to UI UX design that wants to know more about it? Any questions? Mona Rana, yes, raise your hand. You can unmute yourself and speak here. Yeah, you can unmute yourself and speak. Mona Rana, do you want to say something? Okay, I'm guessing no. Cool. So now when we come to UX design, there is a huge iceberg of things that fall under it. So on the surface, what you see is your visual design. Like for example, if I'm going to be opening my Swiggy app. So what you see here is the visual design. Is my phone visible to you guys? You can see my camera.
Yeah, it's visible. Yeah, it's visible. Your camera.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to pin this style as well. So if you look at it, it's basically this, what you see here is basically the visual design. But what do you understand from this? What do you take away from this, right? And how is this constructed? How did this page come to be? Is a question that all of us might have. And so it all starts with strategy at the end of the day. So it starts with strategy. It starts with understanding what your users need and what are you trying to achieve, right? So when people open this Swiggy app, they want to either buy food, they want to buy groceries, or they want to book a restaurant, or they want to pick up something, or they want to buy something. So there are a lot of other things. So when a user comes here, you want them to make a decision as to what they want to do. And this page serves that in simplicity. You have a navigation bar to buy what you want, and you also have tiles to go for where you want to do it. And the product objective is to do the same. It's to lead the user from the starting page of the page to something more where they can take their actions, right? And from there, if you click on food delivery, if you click on food delivery, you go here to the food delivery screen, and then you now guide users to restaurants. So you need to understand the user's needs when they want to buy a food. So you think about what does a user do when they want to buy something, when they want to eat something, right? Do you first look at what they have? I mean, when you generally want to eat something, does anyone tell me how do you guys make a decision when you want to order something from a restaurant? Anyone, feel free to interact with me. There's no point of you guys being on a live session if no one's going to talk to me. Yeah.
Firstly, we just, excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Please talk. Yeah.
Firstly, we just choose the top rated restaurants.
Hmm.
Then we
No,
go with the reviews.
I don't want to know how you go in design, right? I want to know how do you guys eat food? Like, say you want to eat something now, you're craving to eat something
Okay.
now. What do you do? What's the first
Mhm.
thought that comes in your head?
Just go and see the available recipes of the dishes.
Okay, recipes of the dishes. And do you remember, do you first think of dishes something you like eating a lot? You guys think about that as well?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for example, sometimes you might like biryani, some people might like pizza, some people might like dosas. So that's the first thing you think about, right? Do I want to eat more of that? That is one more thing you guys think about. Then you look into what are the different kinds of things you want to eat. Then you look into restaurants, then you look into foods that you want to order. Now, that is how general brain process work when you go out to eat in a restaurant as well. And that is pretty much what Swiggy tried to mimic. They try to understand the user's needs, and they try to not just Swiggy, even Zomato for that sake, but yeah, any food delivery app as such. That's what they try to mimic. They try to understand what you reorder a lot. They try to understand what are your usual orders, what do you like so much, and what is the kind of category you like eating from, and they look into that and they show that to you as a screen. Now they take you through the whole flow of you pick a category, a restaurant, you look at the different dishes, you add a certain dish, and then you buy it, and then you go forward, right? So that is basically understanding your user's needs. You understand how does a user function when they want to order food. Then what is the product objective? The product objective is basically to let you guys order food and let you guys do the payment. If no one does the payment towards the end, the company does not get anything, right? And that stays true for any business or any company. So now what do you need to do in order to do that is that you make things shorter. You make things shorter and you see as to how fast can you make someone buy a food from your app or buy anything from Amazon, in fact. So that is where strategy plays a huge role. And then you look at scope. You basically try to understand what is it that you can do, what is that you cannot do. Can you read a user's brain? Can like through a phone, can you just read someone's brain and predict what they want to eat? No, you cannot. That is magical. That is magic. That's something that tech cannot do. But what you can do is you can give them a simple way to see what they want to order and eat that, right? So Shahul and Keshav, Shahul first. Do you have any questions? Your hand is up here. Okay, I think Shahul doesn't want to say anything. Keshav, your hand is up. Do you have anything to say? Keshav Babu? See, I have a lot of hands raised over here. Do any of these guys want to say something? Vinti Sharma, Shahul Miran, Keshav Babu,
Hello,
any one of
sir.
you? Any question? Yeah, Vinti, tell me.
Sir, actually, being a UX designer, how can you make a portfolio?
Got it. Yeah, I'll be getting to that as well. We'll be having a portfolio. I'll be talking about that as well, Navara. I'll get there, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. So in the same way, then you try to decide your structure, then you try to design your skeleton, which is once your scope is out, you try to understand what is the information that you show on page, then how do people interact with that information, then you look into how does that look like, what is the content people will read, and then once all of that is culminated and put together, it becomes visual design. So this diagram just gives you guys an understanding of what lies beneath the visual beautiful designs you see. How is that beautiful design constructed, right? And now what is user interface as a part of the iceberg? UI cannot exist without UX. User interfaces bring the user experience to life, right? It basically is the connection that people work on the presentation layer, like what people see in order to achieve what they want. If you like open your phone, if you do not see a torchlight icon, then you cannot turn on a torchlight. If you cannot see a camera icon, you cannot turn on your camera. What if instead of camera you had like photo as an icon? Would you know if that's camera or gallery? So things like simple things like that is where your UI guides the user in order to understand what UX is happening there. Someone has raised their hand. Keshav, do you want to talk? You've been raising your hand constantly. Do you want to say something, Keshav?
Nobody.
No? Okay. Cool. So yeah. So what is the value provided in user interface, right? So it focuses on the visual and interactive elements of a product. You have buttons. So if you see a button, a user knows that they have to click on it. And the button communicates what they have to do. And it basically ensures that the interface is appealing and easy to navigate and use. If something is not easy to navigate, people won't know where to find what. So it all boils down to things like discoverability, awareness, interaction, and a lot of other things. Discoverability being how do you find something you want to find on the app or on the web on a website, be it Amazon, be it Flipkart, be it Swiggy, be it Zomato, things that we use on a daily basis. How do I search for something? Where do you find the search bar? And do you use a search icon to tell the users where to find the search bar? How do I find categories and things like that? That is discoverability. Awareness is understanding what does a specific function do? What does a specific UI do? How does it work? So that ideally becomes your awareness creation about the product itself, right? And now you look at it, you have a lot of different ways in which UI helps in such ways. So UI is how it looks, and the UX is basically how it works and how people interact with it. And together, UI is at the end of the day a part of UX. You cannot call it as two separate domains. It's yeah. So now you have a lot of things. So this is something that I want to talk about a lot because when people think of UX design, what do you guys think? Does anyone want to tell me when you think of UI UX design, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Is it a website? Is it an app?
हेलो
Yeah.
हेलो
Yes, Annie, tell me.
सर ये किसके बारे में चल रहा है
Hello.
Sub website.
Website, right? And how many of you think it's usually a website that UI UX designers design? Give me a thumbs up if you think. Sorry, sorry. Actually, you're not audible.
So UI will become on website and download, but as a UX designer, they will including a overall
Okay, got it. So you can put up your
Sir,
things in the
what's
chat
your
as well.
question?
No, I was just asking, what do you think UX designers usually design?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it could be a website. You think it's an app. It could. Some people might say, I don't know. I think these are the things we use on a daily basis. But if you actually look at it, there is a lot of scope for this UI UX design in specific, right? So as a digital UI UX designer, which is what you're focusing on here, it can be websites, mobile apps, and also softwares. I'm not sure how many people might have had experience with it, with this, but softwares at the end of the day are basically things that every company uses on the backend, as well as to the users. For example, if you're designing for Microsoft, you're designing Teams for Microsoft, then you're designing a software, right? And there are also some softwares which are dedicated towards businesses. So the design doesn't just uh, keep your scope into designing for users, designing for a lot of customers. It also extends the scope into you guys designing for businesses as well, which is a bigger thing. So if you feel like you are someone who has a lot of logical business thinking involved in your job and you want to go towards UI UX design, you can use your experiences in order to do that as well. And a lot of industries, pretty much every industry that is digital right now is taking UI UX design into consideration. Even like your local car dealership, even your doctor's uh, clinic you see use softwares that need good UI UX in order for them to take care of things, right? So this is, I think this is the basic scope of the domain. And what are your job roles? Like what are the different job roles you have? Is you how you can be a UX designer, a UI designer, you can do UX research specifically, you can design interaction specifically, you can just you can just make information architectures separately. So a lot of different companies even focus on these specific smaller roles because they add up towards the bigger project. And there are also people who do all of this together, and they're mostly called just UX designers or product designers. And they are people who pretty much need all use all of the skills in demand: your user research, prototyping, wireframing, usability testing, etc. And now when you go for it, okay, yeah, actually, I'd want to ask some questions in general now with respect to this, right? With respect to like job roles and with respect to the scope of the domain. So how many people here are already working as UI UX designers or product designers? Can you just give me a thumbs up? No product designers. How many of you want to be a product designer? Does anyone want to tell me what got you guys into product design, and do you want to share an experience as to what got you into product design and why do you think product design is for you? You can raise your hand if you want to share this. Sanjit, you have your hands raised. Do you want to talk about it? No. Okay. Sai Shivani, you want to talk about it? Why do you want to be a UI UX designer and what do you think it involves?
Sir, does product designer and the UX designer mean the same? Is it the same?
It's more or less the same. To be honest, product design is just a fancier term for UX design
Okay.
at the end of
Okay,
the
sir.
day. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, no questions here. I think someone asked me about this, right? How do you prepare for an interview? And I think this is one thing we want to cover in this class specifically because it's about mapping the career landscape, right? So a lot of people that I see when they share their portfolio online or to us is that they are not really concise towards the company they're applying to. You can have a lot on your portfolio, you can put a lot of fun projects on your portfolio, but if none of the projects on your portfolio actually are related to the company you're applying, then the interviewer is gonna immediately close your portfolio. They're not even going to look at it because it doesn't make sense to them that you do not have relevant experience. And when you do not have relevant experience, then it doesn't make sense. And by relevant experience, I do not mean, say, if you apply to a food delivery company, you should have food delivery on your portfolio. No. You can have a mobile app on your portfolio that is solving a problem for a customer, for a B2C type of customer. Say if you're applying to Google, then they'll probably look at your portfolio to also understand if you are solving any business related problems. Any questions with respect to portfolio creation? Second, can you mark it out?
What was that? Is it
Sorry.
okay?
Yeah, cool. Someone asked me about portfolio, right? Sai Shivani, was that you?
It wasn't me, sir. I
It was,
didn't ask.
who was it? Someone asked me specifically about portfolio. Vinti Sharma, yeah. Do you have any specific questions that you think might help the audience as well when it comes to making a portfolio?
So actually, I'm not. Uh, how I don't know how can I start my portfolio as a UX designer. Got stuck on that point when you start, but you can't have any idea how can we start it or which kind of topic we can cover it.
Got it, got it. So again, at the end of the day, if you're starting out, right? Are you Vinti again? Are you starting out as a designer now for the first time? So
Yes, sir.
yeah. So when you start out as a designer for junior roles, I think you aren't, the industry won't expect you to make a lot of fancy case studies, right? But they will try to understand if you have a good understanding of what UX design is, if you have a good understanding of what product design is. So let's say today now you start making a portfolio, or if you start making your first portfolio or put your first project on there, you can obviously make random designs. You can make a phone screen and then you can make a user persona for it, and you can make a user journey for it, and you'll put all of it together on a document, and then you'll call it a portfolio case study. But if you look at it, any properly experienced designer can look at a case study immediately and say if there is content in it, if there is some essence in it or not, if there was some good amount of effort put into it or not. Because at the end of the day, when you work as UI UX designers, you don't build entire products on your own in most cases. Some startups do that. And please do not get into those kinds of startups if you're starting out, because that eventually puts you in a very bad silo as well. So you need to try to understand what is the problem you're trying to solve. Always when you start with your portfolio, pick that one specific thing, pick that one specific problem you want to solve, and who are you solving that problem for. Now try to understand more about that specific user group and that specific problem. Then try to go towards listing out pain points of a user. What are the pain points that are causing the problem for the user, and how do you solve those pain points in an easy and smart way? It shouldn't be a complicated way of solution. It should be a simpler way of solution. And the best way to get started with it is to see good case studies and portfolios. Probably go to LinkedIn and maybe look at any very good designer from Google, Microsoft, or Amazon, or Apple, or any of the top 4 companies, and try to go into their portfolio, see how their case studies are aligned. So the more case studies you guys read, the more case studies you guys learn about, then you guys know how do you design a good portfolio for yourself as well. We have Banu MK who's raising their hand. Banu, do you have anything to say? Banu? Okay, no, I don't think so. Okay, yeah. So basically, when it comes to building a portfolio, that is the simplest way to go by it. Read more portfolios, see more portfolios. It's very simple to for me to say,
Sir,
but I think it's about, yeah, yes, Banu, tell me.
ಹೇಳಿ sir.
Sorry.
Network problem.
Yeah, do you have anything you want to say? Okay, I don't think so. So yeah, so that is how you go ahead with showcasing your portfolio. Then the next thing is when you apply for a company, try to understand the company. What does the product do, and any kind of specific problems that company is currently facing. Like say you open Spotify and you figure out that there is some problem in Spotify's user experience. You can solve for that user experience and send it to a company in your case study as well. And solving similar and problems for a company basically increases your chances of getting a job at that company, or getting an interview with that company as well, right? Because they are confident that you will be able to make a change, make a difference in that company. And if you look at it, how do you commonly prepare? So basically, try to understand and define a kind of design process for yourself. And once you understand a design process for yourself, try to implement that in a few case studies, get feedback from people, get feedback from some seasoned designers. You can reach out to me as well whenever you guys feel like it, but get some feedback from anyone. So that feedback is going to help you guys improve your portfolio and find a better job as well. Pratham, do you want to say something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Pratham.
Sir, I just want to know how
Uh,
to make a good CV at first.
how do you make a good CV at first? So when it comes to product design, it depends on two cases, right? One, you're starting out as a designer, your CV is not going to have much. People are going to directly look at your portfolio. And in most cases, when you apply, people in UI UX design specifically look at your portfolio before they give your experience weightage. If you have a lot of experience but your portfolio is really bad, then no one's going to care about your CV. And it's the same way around. So now, if you are a seasoned designer who is looking to improve their career, then try to work on projects that are making a difference. Always try to apply for a company and always try to work for a company that you think will make a difference, that you think you can have a very good say at. Don't end up going for a company that probably does not appreciate your interests as a designer in product design. Say you have some really good ideas, some really good nuances, then those ideas should be always considered. Your opinion should be considered. There are lot of startups where I see the CEO or your manager comes to you and they tell you, these are the screens I want, design these screens and give it to me. Cool. Maybe you'll be a good UI designer, but you'll never be a good UX designer if that is the kind of work situation you are in. And if you're in such a work situation, please do look for a better situation where you will be able to explore the problem itself. And at the end of the day, UX design and product design is about problem solving, right? Pratim, does that answer your question or?
Yes, sir. I'm satisfied.
Okay, thank you. And now, what is whiteboarding, right? So every design interview has usually 4 to 5 series of steps that they have. One is they usually start with your like portfolio round, then they talk to you about your presentation of your portfolio where you tell them about what products you have worked on, what projects you have worked on, and they want to try to understand your thought process behind the product. Whenever you show something on your portfolio, they don't really want to see what you have designed. Companies want to see how did you think to achieve that solution, right? And that needs to be always fleshed out really well on any case study or portfolio you guys make. And also, after that happens, there is usually a whiteboarding session that companies have with you guys. And the whiteboarding session, again, is not for you guys to give the best solution out there for the company. A whiteboarding session is going to just look at how good you are with interacting with people in the company, how good you are with talking to the people in the company, how good you are with voicing out your opinions as you think. How, like, it's basically voicing out your thoughts while you are working. So I think once you start doing that, that is all of whiteboard is about, because when you work in a design environment, collaboration is very important in any design environment, any design company, right? So always they want to understand how open you are to taking suggestions. If you are very constrained and you have very strong opinions as a designer, then how the product turns out at the end of the day also will be constrained. But it's always bad. Companies always look for people who are more open-minded, who can take in more feedback from other people regardless of how it feels, and try to make sense if that feedback makes sense or not, and then use it. That is what most of the companies look for in designers uh, as a main thing, right? So any one of you have any questions about interviews, about applying for jobs? How do you seek for jobs? Any questions on that?
Sir,
Yeah.
can you
Yes,
hear
sir.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Tell me.
Sir, I just want to know one thing. If in the interview board they are asking about my experience and in which projects I have already completed or I am going to complete right now in which company I am. Okay, then what will be the answer when I am negotiating with them?
When you're negotiating with them, it depends. Do you have job experience?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, then I think you can. So basically, again, it all boils down to the initial point, how to customize your portfolio for the company you're applying to, right? It's about this specific point. Research your company. Know what is that they want to achieve. What are its products? What are its UX challenges? And try to modify your portfolio in such a way that this company will be convinced that if you work there, they will be happy to have you there. So it's more about customizing your portfolio to any company you apply to, as well as making them understand what change did you bring to your previous companies and to your previous projects. Yes, Shivani, do you have any question? Your hand has been up, yeah?
Yes, sir. Recently, I've taken this UX course, but the thing is, the course got completed. The only problem
Okay.
I'm right now facing is there are very less openings for the freshers. I've searched it in LinkedIn, Naukri, and like in most of the UX regarding
Hmm.
jobs.
Right. So I wouldn't say there are less openings for freshers because it again depends on how you reach out to companies, how you reach out to people, right? A job might have 2 to 5 years of experience written on the job description. But if your portfolio is good and if your work is good, the company will not consider you, I mean, will not consider that into take that into consideration. They won't basically think about how much experience you have if they think your portfolio is good. And that is how most good companies that have a good design culture function. Does that answer your question, Shivani? Or
Yes, sir, but I'm not getting any response. I've been trying it since 1 month.
then I think you should maybe work more on your portfolio.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Try to make it more customized, try to make it more nuanced. JD agency. No, I do. Oh, so fun fact, I never made a portfolio link or a Behance account. I've been working with a PDF file. So that works as well. Your portfolio does not always have to be fancy website. It does not have to be a Behance link. It can just be a simple Word document with links to your projects and play things explaining what your projects are. So I have been navigating my UX career with just one single Word document with 4 links on it. And now one of the main things is that, yeah, Minti Sharma, do you have a question?
So,
Yeah.
how many projects we actually needed for the portfolio?
Not more than two. When you're starting out, not more than two. Because I don't, and no interviewer is going to actually read more than two projects, even if you have a lot, especially for junior roles, because people are receiving around thousands and 2000s of applications, right? So it's about how fast can you bring an impact on your interviewer? How captivating can you make your case study? That is what matters the most. Which is why I ask all of you guys to go look at case studies online, which are really good, which are really nice. Try to understand what is the kind of things they follow. I can talk to you guys more about that as well. But considering the session is just for an hour, I don't think we can deep dive into that as much. So now, when it comes to job switching guidance, right? So is there anyone here that wants to switch jobs from one role to say UI UX design? Do we have anyone here? JD agency, I have experience in graphic design. I want to switch on UI UX and please guide. Okay. Pratim, you also want to switch your career to UI UX design, is it?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what do you currently do, Pratim?
Right now, I am working as a relationship manager in Cytoclick
Okay.
Solutions.
Okay. And why do you want to go to UI UX? Do you have any specific reason?
Sir, I want to switch my job just because they are giving me the salary, which what they are giving me as a salary, that's very low, sir. So I want to switch for bigger hike in my.
Okay. Okay. So have you started preparing to be a UI UX designer? Have you started learning about UI UX design?
No, sir, no, sir.
No. Then, so ideally, if you want to switch your career, right? First of all, try to understand why do you want to switch, and if it's about the job role that attracts you, or if it is the salary that is attracting you. If it is just about salary, I think there are a lot of roles that you can go for as well. And UI UX design is definitely not easy. It's going to keep you occupied through the day. It's going to make you think a lot. It's going to be much more cognitively intensive than a lot of other jobs because in UI UX nothing is defined. You define these solutions for yourself, right? You're the person who's creating these solutions. JD agency, do you want to talk about why you want to switch from graphic design to UI UX as well? Okay, I guess not. But yeah, so basically at the end of the day, try to understand why do you want to switch. And if you have decided UI UX is your calling, you like doing UI UX, then look into or definitely look into courses and certifications. Because I think at a point when you're switching, right, although self-learning helps, it also takes a longer time. But taking some courses helps you streamline that. And you have to pay for a course. There are a lot of free courses you can get from YouTube as well. A lot of designers, a lot of people are creating content that you can easily learn from. So learn from existing seasoned designers, learn these concepts, look into Google. You can always go to IDF Interaction Design Foundation and read through their articles as well. So most of these things are free to, there are a lot of free resources on the internet. So try to understand how does this entire domain of UI UX work other than the ones we spoke about today, and try to look into more case studies as I've said already. And so once you have these certifications or projects on your portfolio as well, then that would be a good time to start applying to jobs and see how the market is doing. And basically, you need to craft a good story for yourself. If you basically go to a company and ask them, hey, I want a job because I want to switch to UI UX, they are going to say no. But if you go up with a nice story, if you go up with a story that says, hey, I was working in just this job, but I was pulled towards customer centricity. This is just an example, yeah, you can't use this everywhere. I was pulled towards customer centricity, and that made me look into these problems and solve that in my previous company. And that is when I came across UI UX design. See, that is a more buyable story. People will want to buy that story, and people are captivated by that story when you phrase something that way, right? And that is one thing that companies look forward to when they want to when they see someone who's making a job switch. They obviously every company wants to hire a person that feels dedicated to the job they're doing. Yeah, Divyesh Patel, you want to say something?
Sorry, sir, by mistake.
Okay, no issues, no issues. And guys, you don't have to call me sir. You can just call me Thiru, by the way. I'm really sorry that I didn't see this before, but yeah. So the next thing is highlight transferable skills and relevant experiences. So this is what I spoke about. When you say tell a company that I have some kind of customer centric experience, I have some kind of user centric experience. So try to levitate. For example, here JD agency told me that I have experience in graphic design and I want to switch to UI UX design. So one thing that they can do is that they can understand what are these transferable skills. They now have some good visual skills that they can accommodate in their because they have a lot of experience with graphic design and visual design. So that can be a strong front for them to put all of that and to take all of that as a skill set and use that in their portfolio, use that in their projects, make their interactions better. So that those are some transferable skills you're bringing from your previous job into your new job, and that always carries a lot of weight. And especially when you guys are looking to switch jobs, do keep that into consideration. Are there any transferable skills? Because it's really in this current market, I'm not going to keep it gray, black and white. It's really hard to shift complete industries of jobs if you are not very, very interested, or if you are not extremely dedicated to that specific industry, right? So always keep that into consideration as well. So, yeah. And the next thing I want to know is that do you guys have any more experiences or challenges you are facing right now that you'd like to share with us so that we can talk more about it, see if we can solve it anyway? And considering this is a live session, it was kind of disappointing that not a lot of you have been talking or interacting when we want you guys to. But yeah, is there anyone else on the platform right now that has any questions? Please don't be shy and please feel free to ask. I think everyone here is on the same boat. Shivani, yes.
Sir, are you just going to teach us completely about the UI UX design, or like are you going to just mentor us regarding how to get the job? Or
So I think right now this session was more towards how do you get a job and how just an introduction to what UI UX design is and how the market and how the career currently works. But I think Apna Community would be the best people to answer that question. Uh, so yeah, any other people on here? Anyone else that has any questions? Sanjit, yeah.
Hi. Yeah, so you mentioned like
Mhm.
watching or reading a lot of case studies would be
Yeah.
good. So, is there
Mhm.
any platform that you can suggest that houses these kind of case studies?
Yeah, I think there are some platforms. I don't remember them at the top of my head, but I think what I did personally was that I just went to LinkedIn, went to when I was starting out, I went to LinkedIn, I went to I would type say Google or Apple or Microsoft again. I would look at the designers, I would open each of their profiles, see if they have portfolios, and I'd open their portfolios and read their case studies. So
Okay.
one common place to find them. See, this basically is a filter for quality. But if you and that helps because in general, if you're just reading from a list of case studies, it's hard to say which one's good quality, which one's bad quality when you do not know, right?
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
filter for good quality from LinkedIn and then you look for it. And I think if you want a very big place of like say a treasure hoard, you can always go to Medium. Medium has a lot of case studies as well. But I would say stay away from Behance and Dribble because they don't really have a lot of cool case studies on them. Behance and Dribble is mostly the visual work.
Yeah, like when I was looking through Behance and Dribble, most of the comments that I saw or got from other people are these are not real life
Yeah,
problems.
yeah,
It's mostly
correct,
visuals.
correct. They're not real life problems. They just put anything that's visually appealing on there. Yeah, it's more like open source sharing community for inspirations and everything. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Anyone else? Any questions that we don't? I think we have like 5 more minutes, I guess. So this is your last chance, I guess. Any questions? Uh, anything on the chat? No, I think I'll take that. Got the answer. I have background. Okay, no issues. I think that is about it then. Oh, how can we contact you in the future? I don't know. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn maybe, but yeah, I think you can connect Apna Community and they'll probably help you out as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
Rohan, do
think
you
that
want
would be
to,
the best option. Yeah.
yeah. Rohan, do you want to take forward now? I don't think.
Yeah, thank you so much, Thiru. Thank you for your insightful session. And meanwhile, I have also put out a feedback link on the chat box earlier, just to help you. Feel free to give us your feedback, which will help us improve the sessions. And I've also put out a Apna Exclusives link where you can register yourself, get access to not only this session, but all other sessions that's happening over the month. So feel free to register yourself and feel free to give us your feedback, which will help us improve our sessions. And we still have a few minutes. We can take up questions if there are any. We will wait for a few minutes before we close.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, in UI UX platform, I mean, what will be the core language for the UX and UI jobs? The
So
language.
so UI UX is not really dependent on development or coding. You don't need to know any language for UI UX. You will have to use softwares based on the company. There are few of them. There's Figma, there's Sketch, there is your Adobe XD, there is your Framer. A lot of different companies use a lot of different softwares. But if your question is how they're developed, then that depends on the tech stack of the company. The backend will be developed or anything, but I don't think that has anything to do with UI UX. That is completely on the engineering side. But UI developer is a job role. If you're interested in coding, then UI developer is a job role. And that is basically just a front-end developer that has a good design sense. Though you call them UI or UX developers, not designers.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pratim. Guys, I think last few minutes, please ask away any questions you guys have. And it's always good for designers to ask more questions, because I think that'll be a major part of your job role when you go out, as you'll be asking people questions to a point that people in your company will be pissed off with you. But I think that's a skill you need to develop. Don't be shy to ask any question anywhere as a designer. Did MNCs work on the same platform? What do you mean? Like, do you mean Figma and things like that, Vinti? Yeah, you can talk.
No, sir. Actually, you say that the Google has worked on the business related problems.
Yeah.
So it means that all the MNCs are working on the same platform or a different platform.
I'm sorry, I don't really get your question. Can you put some more context into it? What do you mean platform?
As you say, no, that that Google is working on business related problems.
Yeah.
And the same as MNCs are also working on same way or a different way.
So that honestly depends on a company's target customers, right? That's where your users come into play. So your general user, if you look at it from the top level, they can be someone who wants, in case of Google Meet, it's someone or anyone that wants to get on a meeting as fast as possible online. If you look at Microsoft Teams, it is for an organization that wants to conduct meetings, that want to set up something for a team of people, for a group of people. If you look at Zoom, it's just a harder and a cheaper version of Google, like premium Google Meet in a way. And it has some data storage capabilities. So people who cannot spend a lot of money on data storage and recordings prefer to go for Zoom. And that is the main reason that exists. So it again depends on what kind of user are you trying to design for, build your product for, and each company decides that by starting their business, figuring out how the sales are happening, and then they get into how they want to, who they want to target. Basically, does it answer your question, Vinti?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sir, when we started how to conduct user research for UI UX portfolio, yeah, so on this, right, this is one very fun point I get. So I see like tens and twenties of portfolios that have something called user persona, right? But in reality, when you look at it, a user persona is something that is put together after asking people, after at least talking to 500 to 1,000 people. You send them out forms, or you conduct tens and twenties of interviews, and you put together your user persona. That is one persona that your entire product and solution is going to be for. No company has more than 2 to 3 personas max, right? But when getting to think about user research, that is the scale bigger companies conduct their user research on. So when you ask me, how do you conduct user research for your UI UX portfolio? you can definitely talk to your friends, but that is going to not give you a good output. So the best thing to do for go by it is secondary research. And even if you talk to your friends or your relatives, try to talk to the target user. Like say you're designing an app for kids, try to talk to any parents with kids around that age about how their kid would function, or maybe just give a screen to the kid and see how the kid reacts with it, right? So always filter who you talk to. Don't just talk to any friend you have. Someone who would actually use this in real life, it would if it was a thing. Then the next thing is secondary research, which is Google, and especially now with ChatGPT going on, I think you can ask ChatGPT any amount of questions and it will give you good answers. And I think ChatGPT is one of the best places for user research at any point of any like for secondary user research at any point of time. So that I think that answers your question, JD Agency. Rajesh sir, how can suggest best platform to learn by? There are lots of platforms these days, and I think most of them provide the same quality of services. You won't really see a lot of difference. Yes, Sanjay.
Yeah, so you said like if you're going to create an application for kids, you have to
Yeah,
talk to kids or talk to parents who have kids.
yeah.
So, what would be the right amount of people that you should talk to? Like, is it like an amount like 10, 20?
Uh, so the right amount of people that depend on your time you have for the project, because in any company time is a constraint. You can talk to 100 people, but if that's going to take you 20 days, but the project needs to be done in 10 days, you can't do that. So you can even just talk to 2 to 3 people. But the right amount number, how do you decide is that once you start realizing all of the problems you hear start repeating. So once these problems start repeating when you talk to new people, that is when you ideally realize you've spoken to enough people, because now your problem statements are going to be the same after that point. Or once you decide that there are 3 to 5 top level problems that are intense enough for you to solve, that will actually make a change, that is also when you can decide you have spoken to enough people.
Got it, sir.
Yeah. See projects. Mention why you don't complete it. Thank you for this session. Why don't I complete it? I don't have any projects online, bro. What are you saying? Sir, can you suggest best online platform to learn UI, UX design? Yeah, I think there are a lot of platforms, but if you want to learn from the OG platform that has everything, then I think it's IXDF, which you have to pay monthly subscription and all. But if not for the OG platform, then I think anything else does the job. Basically, you can learn from any course, you can learn from any YouTuber. To be honest, everything that you need to learn right now is probably free. Yeah. I think last 1 minute,
Awesome.
anything else? Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Thiru. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
the session. I think we can definitely take up more questions, take up any other requirements through Apna, and we can answer the questions, queries accordingly. Thank you for your time, Thiru, and we'll catch
Thank
up
you.
with another session tomorrow. Bye bye.
Sure. Thank you.